Hey guys, Bowie here, and this is Things I've Learned with Resolut1on's Phantom Assassin in 719. The PA pick here was a clear response to the Drow pick in the enemy team, and while PA is pretty decent versus Drow, the mid matchup is not favorable, so we're going to take a good look in how Rezo was able to not only win this game, but make a pretty decent comeback. While this matchup is fairly interesting, it's also a very rare matchup that I don't want to touch upon since I think it doesn't really help a lot of the viewers. It is a super hard matchup for PA. Rezo gets killed even though he purchases quite a bit of regen to try to withstand it. And one thing I do want to mention, and that goes to any mid matchup versus TA, is the importance of winning the sentry war versus the hero, especially if you're on a hero that doesn't have the best mobility. PA has some, but it's tied to having units around, and sometimes that's not the case. Rezo quickly buys his own sentry at level 6 to be able to stay in lane. And one thing I want to mention here is that while PA can jungle, Rezo is quite underfarmed, meaning that jungling will cost him his tower for very little payoff. Another interesting thing to mention is that Rezo constantly blocks every single wave of his own creeps. This means that he's hitting them in his own high ground, especially at nighttime. Just makes all the difference in his safety when the supports start rotating around the map. When he dies, look at the angle and the commitment that took Dire to get this kill. Not only this was a smoke gank, but thanks to having the Battle Fury in the quick buy, he can actually get the recipe before falling, losing less gold. In this game, I wouldn't say that Battle Fury is a necessity, and there are definitely other playstyles available for PA, but the one Resolut1on went for allows him to scale very hard into the late game. Another reason it makes sense is that if you check Dire's cores, Weaver and TA are almost unkillable if PA goes for like a Desolator early game build. Drow can die, but then you have Wyvern and TM into the mix, and you're probably gonna die every time you try to go for a play. It just makes sense to farm earlier, especially because if Rezo went for the Deso, his timings would be pretty bad anyways, thanks to his hard laning stage. Another thing I will mention, and that I mention frequently in my PA videos, is your portable map hack. This hero can detect anything but smoke ganks, and if you check the icon here, you can quickly see that Rezo did not notice the Weaver approaching, so be sure to keep an eye on this as frequently as possible. As you can see, this game is pretty hard already, yet Rezo wins, so how does he do it? Dire is pretty much going high ground at this stage, yet Rezo is top. Not only he doesn't have the Battle Fury yet, he's just not enough of a threat. In moments like this, you will always be better off pushing another lane. Since Radiant has Chrono, Dire doesn't go much further, and Rezo's movements here lures a big response from the Dire to the top area of the map, which is always what you want. That ends up giving him time to finish the Battle Fury, and if you don't remember, any Battle Fury hero loves another Quelling Blade. There's no item in the game that comes close to giving you 25 damage for 220 gold. On PA you get even more thanks to your crit, so make sure to get the second one in your inventory until you're completely out of slots. The way Resolut1on was able to farm the waves without dying is a very important thing to mention this game, since being 15k behind just makes any hero very easy to kill on the Radiant side. Resolut1on is not quite there yet in terms of farm, and not only that, look where the creep wave is. Even if Dire gets kills, they are taking the tier 1 at best. Rezo just cuts every creep wave when he has vision of Dire murdering his allies. You can see that he never actually hits the tower. PA is not the greatest sieging hero in the first place, and this area is just unnecessarily dangerous for him. He just makes sure to farm as fast as possible and cut the wave. Since the jungle is out of creeps, he already sets up for the mid creep wave this time since Void is top, and this is the lane Dire is trying to take. Dire even tries to glyph it, but Rezo takes it down like a boss. Note how he drags the creeps instead of waiting there, since Radiant could TP a hero. So by going for this direction, it's harder for them to actually catch him. This video is kinda serious to this point, so I just want to show you this. Another thing to mention is that while Rezo has vision of TA coming, note how his passive is down, showing that he should get the hell away. Another thing I want to talk about is Rezo having gold for the Manta, being close to the secret shop and not buying it. Look at the icon fading out. The Wyvern makes sure to greet PA when she goes up the stairs, but it's just one of the many uses of Blur. I guess even more surprising to you is the Manta purchase in the first place. So many better items, right? Basher for lockdown, BKB for magic immunity, and Deso for the damage. Well, Manta is a great item here for a multitude of reasons actually. There's no spell here that BKB deals with better than the Manta, meaning that Manta is an item that gives him pretty much the same survivability while giving him more farm power and DPS. It's also a hard counter to TA. When people think of, countering refraction, a lot of the times they are thinking about Radiance, Maelstrom, some sometimes earn, which is better, but Manta, when you're playing PA, is a way better way of actually dealing with the TA. 2 extra DPS instances that break refraction through BKB. Another small change up that Reso goes for that I really like is buying the HP booster when you want to get the Abyssal. You're getting 250 HP for 1k gold, whereas the entire Basher gives you 170 HP for 3000. In a game you're not going for BKB while also being 18,000 gold behind, asks for those small little things. I saw Envy doing it once in an anti-mage game and it actually worked pretty well. And to be fair, the game actually starts here. They try to initiate on the TA, they fail, and they have to disengage. We can clearly see the Manta being useful versus the TA traps, and it's also great versus the bugs, since if you pop it after getting hit, you can quickly destroy them with your illusions while you run away. While Reso lives here, they end up losing 2 lanes of barracks. Right now, Reso is indeed quite strong, but this gold advantage makes the game very hard to be played. For instance, note how he doesn't commit as he tries to defend the second lane of barracks. As long as Winter's Curse is up, he needs to play very far back. He waits TA's BKB before jumping in, and you can see the Manta being quite effective in taking the refraction charges down. This crit, without the Manta illusions, will be blocked by the refraction, so it does make a huge difference. The thing is, he dies and he's forced to buy back without being able to defend that lane of barracks. They do take the Weaver down later on, and one of the first calls he actually goes for is Roshin. PA is pretty decent at it, and with 2 cores dead, that objective is the most pivotal one for sure. Right after getting the Aegis, Reso gives another game-changing call. He starts pushing top, and as we always talk about, pushing a lane lures heroes there. In this particular game, Dire feels like royalty. They think they got this game in the bag. So Reso hides in this area where he predicts the next creep wave will meet. As soon as the icon disappears, he knows the kill will be easy since Drow is pushing with absolutely no fear. Reso wants to fight with his BKB finish. He understands how hard it is for the Dire to actually deal with him now, so note how he utilizes both cooldowns. They actually see Dire smoking and Reso walks up to them. That's how confident he is with his pick and the timings. He goes in, just waits Dire to commit some skills. Note that Reso could have jumped the CM way prior. He waits until she turns, so that if she wants to frostbite, she has to turn, and even then he has the Manta, so it's just extra time for him to attack the CM. He doesn't commit anything. He got 90% of the CM's HP by committing skills that have very short cooldowns. He's more than happy with what he achieved. He goes in again, always holding his items. Only when CM commits, he pops his BKB, knowing full well this is a kill thanks to that sentry, and that is a 1 fight, and also a lane of barracks. By understanding his timings and also playing around Dire being at their strongest peak, Reso was able to hold the game for long enough. He does die at the end, but with buyback ready and after taking barracks. This game is quite clowny actually. Void kept giving us beautiful chronos, but Drow Ranger's buyback here actually made the game quite annoying. They had to go back. And this here is the last fight of the game, and in terms of item decisions, I really like Resolut1on's choices. He decides to go for a Satanic. Dire has a decent amount of MKBs already, and the high HP it gives with the burst of lifesteal really helps. The thing though is that he's saving for buyback, so he doesn't buy the Claymore, and that's quite important. But even more important is the fact that he survives in the first place, doesn't need the buyback, and I want you to see how the River actually makes this fight quite easy for him. As he disengages, he would have 300 HP instead of 800 with the River. The fact that his HP percentage is higher gives him way more safety going back into the fight later and just finishing it off. Pretty beautiful game, a lot of grinding, but he was able to do it. PA is one of my favorite heroes, and you know, Reso is probably one of my favorite players. So guys, I will increase the amount of videos weekly in the channel. I am also looking daily for games to cast, and I would really appreciate your guys' feedback about it. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and commenting the video, and if you want a little extra Bowie in your life, Twitter is where I voice my random thoughts, Twitch is where I play and cast, and Instagram is a fun new place that I need to utilize more, but obviously I would love to have you guys there as well. We do have a Discord channel that is in the description, and I guess that's it, guys. Any feedback is always important, and hopefully I'm going to be able to keep on creating content that you guys like.